All right, we are live.
You're live. Hello, everyone.
I'm going to change my background really quick.
All right. Right.
So, Susan,
Woo!
what's up?
Not much, Liam. Not much. Well, actually, it's not true. I had another in-person sighting from the niece, a winner for herself today. She swung by for all of about 5 minutes just to drop a few things off. And so my husband and my daughter got to say hello and got to find out that this is indeed a real human and not just like somebody I fabricated.
Cool.
How about you, Liam?
All right.
She is not able to join us here today. Leanne, I believe, RSVP'd. Yes. Winifred said she would check it out later. So, what is your report of the day? How goes the battle?
My report of the day is it was a crazy day. Got ghosted.
Got ghosted.
Ghosted twice in one call. I was supposed to meet with two people, and they both didn't show up. So that's always fun.
Oh dear. All right, Liam. Well, we're gonna find you new people, because who wouldn't want to meet with the king of LinkedIn Live?
Right. I mean, come on. Really.
Considering you have a verifiable crown.
I'm good enough.
You are. So Liam, I'm good enough.
Strong enough.
I am.
Yes.
Handsome enough, attracting all the friends I need. Yep.
And people like me.
All the signs of the zodiac, not just one of the 12.
So we have, what is it? 2 minutes and 32 seconds. I wonder what we're going to talk about this week. They seem to, sometimes they have a specific topic, and then sometimes they're just freestyling. So
I go hunting ahead of time, and every time I've been wrong. So I look at the little email I get where the email about what they've been working on is things like getting glyphosate out of the food. And I think in Texas, there's some sort of a showdown about that. What else did they post about? Now I'm blanking on what they posted about, but I know that there was one week I was sure they were going to be talking about something, and I pulled together all these resources and sent them to you, and then they did not talk about that thing. So, so maybe I'll get smart.
It always works out like that,
right?
All right.
Here we
go. Let's see if we can get their sound is.
Still calling your congressman? Waiting on hold? Hoping someone took your message? There's a better way to do this. The MAHA Legislative Tracker lets you browse every MAHA bill. Pick the ones that matter to you and send a letter to your rep with a single click. Search federal, by state, or by the issues you care about most. Take 60 seconds and make it count. Your voice can make America healthy again at mahaaction.org.
That's interesting. I wonder what that is about.
There was a time when the news delivered truth.
It still seems like a dream.
When integrity was paramount.
I cannot contend that I have always been right or wise.
And trusted voices guided a nation.
How do you measure such an astonishing moment?
Today, the headlines are blurred. The signal lost in the noise of corporate agendas and paid narratives.
Vocal anti-vaxxer.
Deranged lies.
It is humiliating.
What happened to the truth? It hasn't disappeared. It simply moved. The MAHA Report brings you unfiltered, independent journalism covering the issues of the Make America Healthy Again movement. Rediscover the facts and reclaim the truth. Subscribe now at themahareport.com.
You know, I have things to say, Liam. Am I saying them, or are we going right to MAHA?
Someone's requesting a Zoom link.
So I'm going to go ahead and
Wait, I'm having. I've got it routed like that.
Hang on, it's coming at you.
Welcome to the MAHA Media Hub, and welcome to the MAHA Revolution. I'm Tony Lyons, president of MAHA Action. It's been a huge week for MAHA. It's been a week that demonstrates that MAHA is not just about one aspect of making us healthy again, but about every element that, taken together, will make us healthier, happier, and a more prosperous nation, and that will make it easier and more affordable to be healthy. I want to start by congratulating Zach Lane, the likely future governor of Iowa, for his incredible victory last night in the Iowa Republican gubernatorial primary. Thanks to the courage and leadership of President Trump and Secretary Kennedy, the MAHA movement is alive and strong. Zach made transitioning from toxic chemicals the cornerstone of his campaign and won this election decisively with strong farmer support. Family farms are closing at a record pace based on our current agricultural system, and Iowa farmers face some of the highest cancer rates of any area in the world. For the health of our children and the continued financial viability of farmers, we must move to a more regenerative agricultural system. I'm confident that Zach will win big in November and become a truly great governor for all people of his state and for the whole country. He's a proud MAHA advocate who will do great things in Iowa while setting a positive example for the nation and the world. Now, we all know that at MAHA, food is medicine. That's foundational. But MAHA has never been just about what's on your plate. It's about what's on your back, what you wear every single day. That's exactly why USDA Secretary Brooke Rollins just rolled out the Great American Cotton Plan, with Secretary Kennedy behind it too. This initiative is putting $21 billion into our domestic cotton industry. This is about bringing our textile industry back to life. We're talking about more than 120,000 jobs. And thinking about it, we don't want plastics in our food, our water, or our soil. So why would we want them sitting against our skin all day, every day? Synthetic fabrics actually shed tiny plastic fibers when you wear them and wash them. And we end up breathing those in and even swallowing them. And on top of that, a lot of synthetic textiles are made with stuff like dyes, flame retardants, stain-resistant coatings, antimicrobial treatments, some of which have been linked to cancer or to messing with your hormones. Cotton is the answer here, and this administration is rewriting the playbook on bringing textiles home. So to dig into all of this, we've got Michael Abood from the USDA and Buddy Allen, President and CEO of the American Cotton Shippers Association. And then there's the historic action on Lyme disease. When Secretary Kennedy spoke about this awful bioweapon last week in New Hampshire, he made a promise. The days of gaslighting people who are suffering from Lyme, that's over. Instead, real research, real investment, real solutions are all on the way. And it's part of an historic package to finally take on a disease that's been so tough to diagnose and treat. To break down what this big announcement actually means, we've got Dana Parrish, a Lyme disease advocate and best-selling author, as well as Dr. Eric Berg. MAHA has always been about medical freedom and parental rights to protect our children from harm. This is what we said in February. Well, we told our politicians that our polling data is unambiguous in its revelation that a plurality of Americans support parental choice, and many share our concerns about the negative effects of vaccines. People want to decide for themselves and for their families which path to take for their health. They don't want politicians dictating their health decisions, and they certainly don't want those decisions forced on them. President Trump has been crystal clear on this. We need to actually study both the types and the number of vaccines that we're giving to our kids. This isn't about dogma. It's about science. It's about critical thinking, parents' rights, and above all, it's about freedom. So we're fully behind the president's executive order, which tells the CDC and the ACIP to take a fresh look at the current vaccine schedule and build in more flexibility for parents and their doctors. Dr. Malone and Senator Rand Paul are going to join us to share their thoughts on the EO and, really explain to us what happened there. That's what gold standard science is in action. And gold standard science is also about supporting the reality that drug-free, whole-person preventative care is often superior to highly invasive treatments and over-medicalized approaches of the old allopathic establishment. So this is why I'm thrilled to share some historic news with everyone on this call. Today, MAHA Center announced the launch of the MAHA Chiropractic Hub, a coordinated national partnership bringing together MAHA Center, MAHA Action, and the whole chiropractic profession, national associations, state organizations, practitioners, educators, researchers, and patient advocates. Together, we're going to continue to fight against chronic disease and give Americans a real alternative to a system that prioritizes treatment over prevention. To fill us in on this incredible new venture, we've got our Strategic Initiatives Chair, Lee Marinoff, the Hub's Executive Director, Brandon Hoffman, and pediatric chiropractor, Dr. Tony Ebel. Then Dr. Oz will update us on what's happening at CMS, and Dr. Joel Bohemier will join us to discuss potential elimination of the National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health. First, we're going to hear from the winner of last night's Iowa gubernatorial Republican primary, Zach Lane. He's a sixth-generation Iowan, father, husband, farmer, educator, pilot, and businessman. He's the MAHA endorsed candidate for Iowa governor who's standing up for farmers and regenerative agriculture. So I just want to welcome Zach. And Zach, congratulations. It's just incredible news, and we're thrilled.
Thank you, Tony, and thank you to all the MAHA warriors. I just have to say, I'm just so grateful right now for all the work that the people on this call did to help us get across the finish line. It was a nail biter last night, but I will tell you, this win was a win for the MAHA movement, and it's something I'm ecstatic about. As we went into this, the very first endorsement we actually had was of MAHA, and I think we were actually the very first endorsed candidate, and I believe this is our natural base of support. But what we're seeing here now, I believe, is a playbook that can be won as long as people really believe in these principles of welding together this economic populism to bring things back to our states and back to our country, along with the MAHA movement to have cleaner water, lower cancer rates, healthier soil. And that's what we're fighting for. A lot of the things that we've talked about, things that we should be doing in the state of Iowa, where we can lead on agriculture and lead on creating those off-ramps that Bobby Kennedy talks about for regenerative farming practices to get farmers less reliant on these chemicals. And also the other side of this too is to help them make more money. No farmer wants to spend more money on these products, and as we can incentivize those, we can help them make more money, live longer, healthier lives, and pass something down to their kids, which is what we all want in the first place. And so that, I believe Iowa can now lead on this. We're going into a general election that's going to be very competitive. However, we're watching a coalescing happening now, and we're really changing the narrative on what we should be doing, not just with agriculture, but with health and wellness for our kids especially, and for us as adults too. So my big message to everybody here is that I just cannot tell you how grateful we are. I saw all the outpouring of support on social media after we won and before we won. And we saw groups getting in to support us as we're getting the final days of the election, and it paid off. We had a giant win for the MAHA movement, and as the next candidate in the general election for the Republicans, I'm going to keep running on these exact issues. And the beauty of these issues is they're not partisan. They're not left or right. These issues are Iowa issues. They're America issues. They're issues that affect every single one of us. And I believe that message is going to carry us into the general, and we're going to make Iowa a model state for the MAHA movement. And that's my commitment to all of you. And so my big message today is just thank you. I'm still in awe. A lot of you probably watched the election results coming in last night, and we saw as we got county after county, even in the rural areas, flipping over to our campaign, which other people thought couldn't be done. Everybody said this wasn't going to happen, and the establishment said it wasn't going to happen. We are out fundraised. We had them against us. We are told to wait our turn, but the people of Iowa spoke, and in large part, we have you all to thank for that. So that's my message today. I'm going to take my kids to the swimming pool in our small town as a little bit of a little retreat, and thank you to them for all that they did to do this with us. And I just want to say thank you to the MAHA Warriors. I cannot wait to fight alongside you to make the top ag state in the country also the top MAHA state in the country. That's my commitment to you, and thank you for your support.
MAHA Warriors. Speaking of MAHA Warriors, Leanne says, hello, troops. How are you two today? I think we're doing good.
Leanne, let me little private message to Leanne. I have been meaning to respond to your email, and I haven't, but I've responded in my head, and I'm thinking about you. So.
All right. All right.
So what I want to know, Zach and Leanne, is, Liam and Leanne is who I'm with. Is Zach going to take his kids to a swimming pool that is sanitized with chlorine? Or are we going to get to the point someday where most pools use salt, which would mean you're absorbing less of the chlorine through your skin into your system and can only help lighten the toxic load?
That's a great point. I never thought about salt, but that we're going to have to talk about that some more. Is there some problem with a filter that seems such a natural?
No, there are. I only
idea.
know about it because I have been to home swimming pools that people have in their yards where they use salt. Michael Aboud.
Sounds like a brilliant idea. Michael Aboud, what's up with Michael?
And there's really a couple key components to it, but a big part of it, and why I'm talking with you here today, is the Plant Not Plastic campaign that USDA is going to be promoting more fully. As you mentioned at the beginning, a lot of these synthetic materials that are being sold right now end up turning into microplastics, whether through the wash or through wear and tear, and that does end up through your skin or being breathed in, whatever may end up happening with that. There's another alternative available, and that is by going through and getting 100% cotton materials where you don't have to worry about those concerns. The reason why this has been so important for Secretary Rollins, President Trump, and everyone else is our American cotton farmers have lost ground over the last few decades. America used to be the cotton king, where we were the top exporter of cotton throughout the world, and we have lost that title to Brazil as they have ramped up production, and we have been slashing production here in America. We've also seen an increase of synthetic clothing come over from abroad, in many cases from adversarial countries. This really is not only a Make America Healthy Again push, but also a Make America Great Again push, where we're able to revitalize the cotton industry here in America, and also put forward safer alternative options for people to clothe themselves in 100% American-made cotton. I also just want to highlight some of the other things we are working on here at USDA. Earlier today, Secretary Rollins was with Secretary Kennedy down in Dowswell, Virginia. They were at a farm that has been converted into a beef operation. And it was really impressive to kind of see them working together to promote locally raised beef from a small family ranch. While they were there, they unveiled the Small Processors Action Plan from USDA, which is going to help a lot of small meat processors around the country be able to purchase cattle from locally owned farms and compete with kind of the bigger guys you see out there that are focused more on the box beef. This is really going to provide a lot more nutrient dense and highly tasty beef to Americans when they want it and where they can get it. This is just another example of Secretary Rollins working with Secretary Kennedy and the entire Trump administration to be promoting the MAHA agenda. Recently, you saw Secretary Rollins also announce the stocking standards rule when it comes to the SNAP program here at USDA. And that is a rule that, once it fully gets put in place, requires stores to actually stock nutritious veggies, fruits, produce, meats, instead of actually counting jelly as fruit or beef jerky as a protein. They actually have to have perishable items on the books so that they can actually accept SNAP dollars, which is going to provide more options available to all these consumers out there that are relying on these types of programs to get their meals. So there's just a lot happening here at USDA. We're very excited to keep working with you all. Thank you for your help in promoting the Great American Cotton Plan. This is truly an incredible time to be here at USDA and continue to push for the MAHA agenda.
All right.
All right, Liam.
Thanks, Susan. That was a lot. And Amanda's
Yes.
coming in hot. She says, does anyone know about their heirloom seeds as there were cabal buildings that hid them from us? Do the white hats have them now? And if so, will they distribute to the farmers? And talking about pools, right? Pool salt and pools. Amanda says, what about magnesium pools? And what about copper coils in pools
to create bacteria. So I did actually look that one up in the interim, and what Google said, or AI or whoever said, is that yes, there are currently public swimming pools that use saltwater generators instead of chlorine to sanitize them. And what I sent to Liam that can show up at the end of the show is links to Lowe's has both modalities available. And then I put in the chat to Liam a little thing from HGTV about pros and cons of a saltwater swimming pool in your backyard as opposed to a chlorine-based one. So we can look at that after the MAHA meeting concludes.
After the MAHA meeting.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm interested in this salt idea because I remember when I was a kid, I'd go into the ocean and all my bumps and bruises would heal.
Correct.
Like magically, much different than in Chicago with the lake, which was just freshwater. So it'll be
right. No, salt water is great, and you can actually detox with salt water. You can order a wide variety of salts or get them in stores like Whole Foods. Everything from salts that claim that they're from the Dead Sea, salts that claim they're from the Himalayan mountains. You put them in your bath water, and they have. I'm going to mess up the explanation, but I want to say some sort of an ionic charge that helps pull heavy metals and things out of you. So
fascinating. All
yep.
right. Let's see what's Buddy Allen up to.
Was to a boutique status. We've seen farms fail. We've seen businesses fail. We've seen rural economies fail. They're dependent on the cotton industry. But better policy is creating a path forward, and we are so tremendously excited. The science and research community that you track so closely has delivered a revelation that microplastics are in fact incredibly harmful for human health. They're direct contributors to so many chronic diseases. And now we know that the largest source contributor towards those microplastics is synthetic fiber from textiles. Over 35% of all microplastic pollution comes from synthetic textiles. So this has created an acute opportunity for the U.S. cotton industry to enjoy a renaissance. So we used to enjoy more than 75% of total fiber consumption. Today, we're closer to 15%. So it's been a tremendous slip over decades. And now we plant our feet firmly on the ground and turn the trend and move forward. At the same time, we realize that U.S. consumers, while we're producing and exporting 12 to 15 million bales of cotton, we're bringing 20 to 25 million bales of equivalent and finished goods back. But only about 1 out of 4 of those bales of cotton that Americans are consuming are produced in America in the most controlled, safest, responsible, sustainable production system in the world, where you and your stakeholders who care so carefully about these types of things have access and transparency and a democratic process to have influence over those systems. So that's got to change. We've got to leverage the power of the U.S. consumer to support the U.S. producer, to deliver the best products in the world to Americans, to make America healthy again, to your overall objective. Hence the development of the Buy American Cotton Act. It's our flagship legislative agenda to deliver these products made from American cotton to American consumers. It gives incentives for brands and retail groups to put those choices on the shelf, to create that opportunity for consumers to make the best decision possible. And in parallel, under the leadership of National Cotton Council, the development of the Plant Not Plastic campaign, which Michael recently referenced. It's really facing consumers to help to educate them about the risk associated with microplastics and the relationship between microplastics and synthetic fiber. So we couldn't be happier with the progress that's been made. in the last year, in the last quarter, in the last month, it's just building to a crescendo that we're really excited to be part of. Our claims became validated by the administration when Secretary Kennedy and Administrator Zeldin launched the STOMP initiative, the systematic targeting of microplastics. And so many of the things that we have been leveraging got escalated by that broader endorsement, which was right in preceding of Secretary Rollins, as Michael just mentioned, announced her Great American Cotton Plan. We are profoundly grateful for Secretary Rollins, her endorsement, her passion, her energy, her reach, and the way she has elevated these issues. The plan is sound. We're excited to be part of its development. We're excited to be part of its implementation. I would be remiss not to thank Kelsey Barnes, her senior advisor, who has made herself a student of our industry in developing ways to deliver solutions for the resilience of the U.S. cotton industry. So it's been a wonderful partnership between USDA, HHS, EPA, the list goes on, and now MAHA. So thank you for that. Our solution is really, really sound. We're addressing economic health, environmental health, and human health simultaneously. There's your MAHA action trifecta for the cotton industry. We see the finish line, but we've got to execute. We've got to pass this legislation. We've got to educate the consumer, and we've got to deliver reciprocal trade for cotton. As I said, we're bringing back far more than we're exporting in raw material. We've got to leverage the power of the U.S. consumer and put the safest and the most preferred product in the world in the closets of Americans. So, Tony, thank you for having me today.
All right. Amanda says Celtic salts, Himalayan pink salts.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Ionic.
Exactly.
And what about hemp, clothing, bricks for buildings,
Correct.
and healing oils from hemp? Yeah. Hemp
Yep.
is definitely an amazing resource.
Yeah, I asked for Christmas, I asked my girls if they could spot me some bamboo leggings and workout stuff, and they did, and it's great. Like, I can't tell the difference. I don't think it's any more expensive. So why wouldn't you switch to the thing that if you're using hemp, it's better for the environment because hemp renews itself so easily and readily. And then if it's better for your body and your brain, because microplastics accumulate in the brain at the rate of, we all have about a credit card's worth of microplastics in our brain right now. So that's also part of what is jamming up everybody's neurological function, and they're causing their anxiety, depression, Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, et cetera, et cetera. So it seems like a win-win to me.
And they called it STOMP, the systematic, something with a T of microplastics. Systematic, we've got Rand Paul in the house.
Rand Paul,
Let's see what Rand has to say.
Me now.
Yes, we hear you.
All right, great. I'd like to use my time today to talk a little bit about the tenure of my friend Marty McCary as the FDA commissioner. For a change, we finally had a champion who wasn't beholden to corporate America. I think he's really been the perfect embodiment of someone who follows the truth, not simply what the authorities say the science is, and really not what Big Pharma tells you you're allowed to say. And I don't think you'll see him going through the revolving door from government, from the FDA to the boardroom at Pfizer or these big pharmaceutical companies. Marty wrote a book called Blind Spots, and when medicine gets it wrong and what it means for our health. Marty tackles some of the sacred cows of the public health establishment, ranging from peanut allergies to unwarranted obsession over saturated fat in our diet. Even during his short tenure, Marty was able to enact some much-needed reforms to the FDA. He created the National Priority Voucher Pilot Program to shorten the drug approval process for some drugs to only 1 or 2 months. Now, all drug rejection letters are made public to make the FDA decision process more transparent. He also released the roadmap to reducing animal testing to implement my FDA Modernization Act 2.0, which eliminated the animal testing mandate for FDA approval. This is a big change from when I was in medical school, when everything was done by animal testing and it was actually mandated. I think over time, people's sensibilities have changed, but Marty was part of enacting the law that I got passed, and we're proud of him for enacting those changes and trying to change things. He spearheaded reforms to eliminate artificial petroleum-based dyes in our food and also helped introduce the new food pyramid to ensure the government recommends real protein instead of processed carbohydrates. Marty spent his whole life taking on the big healthcare special interests that have ruined our healthcare system, and they will continue to fight tooth and nail for any reforms that would make healthcare a free, transparent market. We must demand that the next FDA commissioner has the same MAHA credentials as Marty, or we will simply return to the pay-to-play businesses as usual that leaves Americans sicker and poorer. So I think we should all thank Marty Makary and hope and wish that he stays active and involved. Thanks a lot, Marty.
All right. Systematic targeting of microplastics.
Polyester has forever chemicals, correct.
Chemicals, yes.
Right, not good. And as well, the flame retardants that are in pajamas for children. And also, Amanda, I don't know what the situation is in the UK, but here they passed an open flame law in 2007, which means that a mattress literally has to be doused in so many chemicals that if you put it in a fire, it won't catch fire. That mattress then off gases throughout the night. Your mouth and your nose are inches just breathing in whatever's coming out. Some of it is apparently also absorbing into your skin. So the workaround is to find a mattress where the fire safety standard is met by way of thread that sews the mattress shut, that the thread is Kevlar thread. Kevlar being the material that goes into bulletproof vests. Somehow, I don't understand the technology or the process, but that flies, and those mattresses are for sale, but you have to look really hard for them. You can get an organic mattress, organic cotton one. That, in our experience, didn't hold up very well. I had a scoop where I was sleeping within a year or two. But then I got my daughter's mattresses that came from the Amish. We live near them, and they're made with that Kevlar thread, and those have held up super well. So looks like can't miss Dr. Malone.
Interesting. Dr. Malone in the house.
Lines about President Trump's new executive order on childhood vaccines. And you've probably seen how the media is spinning it. So let me tell you what's really going on, because it's bigger and it's better than they want you to know. At first glance, this order looks like it's about vaccines. It isn't. It's about something much more important. It's about who gets to make those decisions in the first place. Mm-hmm. For decades, that answer has been the same. A small, insulated group of advisory committees, professional societies, agency insiders, and pharmaceutical stakeholders. People you never elected. People you can't vote out. They've been setting national health policy from behind closed doors, and one committee's recommendations automatically triggered insurance rules, Medicaid obligations, school mandate conversations, and what your own doctor was allowed to tell you. That's not science, that's a monopoly. And here's the good news. President Trump just took the first real step to break it. Now, the critics are already screaming that this order is anti-vaccine. That's the easy headline, but it's wrong. A far more honest word for what the president did is anti-monopoly. Let me be clear about something because it matters. Vaccines are one among the many successful tools of public health. The eradication of smallpox is one of the finest achievements of the human race. None of us dispute that, certainly not the secretary. Nobody seems serious in denying that. But acknowledging those victories does not mean we owe blind faith to every single recommendation that comes after them. It doesn't mean we stop asking questions. And friends, we all lived through COVID. We watched the experts make confident declarations that quietly changed later. We watched good, honest doctors get silenced for asking reasonable questions. We watched conflicts of interest get waved away. We watched our kids get caught up in mandates for products still under emergency authorization while we were told to trust and stop asking. Trust doesn't work that way. Trust is earned. It's earned through transparency, through open debate, through accountability. It is never earned by shutting people up. So what does this executive order actually do from President Trump as of last Friday? It restores the proper order of things. It says that advisory committees should go back to doing what the law always intended, which is to advise, not to set policy. And the people we actually elect, the people who answer to us in the ballot box, those are the people who set the policy and take responsibility for it. That's not radical. That's just the Constitution working the way it's supposed to work. You can support vaccines and still demand truly independent safety monitoring. You can support vaccines and still call out conflicts of interest. You can support vaccines and still believe that parents deserve a real say and that doctors deserve room to use their own judgment. That isn't anti-vaccine. That is exactly what genuine scientific accountability looks like. Here's the bottom line, and it's the best news of all. For years, they told us that this conversation was settled, closed, off the table. With one signature, the president reopened it. He put people back in charge of their own health. This order doesn't end the debate. It does something even better. It guarantees the debate can finally be had out in the open. And that, my friends, is a very good day for America and a very great win for MAHA. Thanks for listening and for having me on.
Yep. Amanda's right.
Amanda says flame returns on sofas.
Yep.
She says it's the same there in the UK. And Leanne says also in Canada, we're like the United Colors of Benetton. We have people from all over the world. Isn't that awesome?
So what I love about Dr. Malone is how balanced and calm he is. And somebody recently sent me something. It's somebody who is horrified that RFK is trying to, kill us all and get rid of vaccines, and we're all going to die from measles. And one of the things was a video that was done by some PhD molecular biologist guy, sort of quote unquote debunking the idea that vaccines aren't safe. And the person asked me to watch it. So I dutifully loaded it up, and I got about 5 minutes in and I was having trouble stomaching it because, among other things, Malone was referenced as an anti-vaxxer. So, okay, let me get this right. Malone, who holds, I believe it's 13 patents on the mRNA technology and is arguably the world's leading expert on it, and himself got the COVID vax, which he then sustained an injury from. As soon as you start calling him an anti-vaxxer, sorry, but it's very difficult. It's very difficult.
Yep, loses all credibility. And we've got Amanda coming in super hot. She's like, plain foam, go to a store and have it made to fit. I say, F the system. Wish we could get horsehair mattresses like the old days.
I'm going to say, Amanda, I bet you can, because if I was able to find mattresses that weren't doused in chemicals, I'm guessing somebody's making horsehair mattresses. And if they don't, then whoever is an upholsterer or, sort of good with sewing and needles and creating things, go ahead and start that business, because Amanda will buy your first piece of furniture. I'll buy your second, Leanne your third, Liam your fourth, and then you've got it made. Everybody will buy it.
Absolutely. All right, let's see who is next
to be on. But today, this is a really special day for all of us. But let me just say that before I began any of this work, I am a mother, I'm a farmer, I'm an educator. I live in a very rural part of Vermont. I have this center where we teach families and children about food, health, agriculture, and self-reliance. And right there on our farm, we actually had a chiropractic office. So for me, chiropractic was never some abstract healthcare policy issue. It was really part of our everyday life. And I watched as our local chiropractor would have families come in with pain and chronic issues and health concerns. And I saw how chiropractic actually could become a first line of support, helping people to heal and avoid drugs and really improve the quality of their life. But over time, I saw something different. I saw that chiropractic represents a different approach to healthcare, one that really focuses on supporting the body rather than immediately medicating symptoms. So, Tony, over a year ago, when you asked me to help lead this effort for MAHA, I felt strongly that I agreed with you. And I wanted to see if we could bring MAHA, bring chiropractic into the MAHA movement, because it represents exactly the kind of prevention-based, drug-free healthcare Americans are searching for right now. So a year ago, I began really learning more about the profession, beginning with my good friend, Dr. Vicki Dubin-Master, who's the one that had brought the chiropractic care onto my farm. Since then, she's gone on to develop the chiropractic working group and writing a weekly newsletter connecting the voices across the profession. But along with her, several other people from the profession shared their time and insight with me and helping me understand the process. And so I'd like to just take a moment right now to thank them, because through their openness and their dedication and commitment, they helped shape this from the beginning. And, you know, I felt a real kinship from the first time I met the huge group of chiropractors in the profession. They were open with me and honest, and they told me a little bit about the profession's challenges. And I quickly realized that this isn't just another political initiative. The chiropractic hub really gave us the chance to bring our MAHA mission to life, because we are here today to launch the MAHA Chiropractic Hub as a coordinated partnership between MAHA Center, MAHA Action, including the national associations and the state organizations. Following our meeting that we had in Washington, it became clear that we could join with them and help at a federal level. Our goal is simple. It's to help support chiropractic as an essential, evidence-informed, prevention-first component of a sustainable American healthcare system. And now, to speak more about that and how you can get involved, it's my honor to introduce our next speaker, our new Executive Director of the Chiropractic Hub, Brandon Hoffman. Brandon has been an important voice and leader within the chiropractic profession, bringing both a passion and a deep commitment to advancing patient-centered prevention-first care. He's been instrumental in building connections across the profession and moving our vision forward. I'd like you all to please join me in welcoming Brandon. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee. I'm honored and proud to serve as the Executive Director of the MAHA Chiropractic Hub. Lee shared where this project and coalition started and where we are headed. My job is to execute on how we get there. So let me first start by sharing how I got here. This profession is my family. My father is a chiropractor, so are two of my uncles and my cousins, and I grew up in my dad's practice. My earliest memories are of people walking in tired, hurting, and out of options, but then walking out with their life back. I saw the natural healing power of this work. I also saw how my dad fought to have chiropractic taken seriously. As a kid, when I said my dad was a chiropractor, I'd sometimes hear, "Oh, but he's not a real doctor." That confused me because I had seen what he did to help thousands of patients. I learned early on, when someone has lived with chronic pain and finally finds relief, they don't care about the title on the wall. They care that they got their life back. That conviction has driven my career across insurance, media, education, and policy. The belief that every American deserves comprehensive care, where drugs and surgery are options, but they're not the automatic first-line standard of care. Now, let's talk about the priorities of the hub. The infrastructure exists. The support exists. Now we begin the execution. For 2026, we have 4 priorities that advance the hub's mission. First, a national public education campaign so patients and policymakers and employers understand what we can do to build a healthier America. Second, modernizing Medicare through the Bipartisan Chiropractic Medicare Coverage Modernization Act, giving seniors the full scope of chiropractic care that they are trained on without providing drugs and surgery. Third, expanding care and choice for our service members and veterans who deserve the absolute best options after their service to our country. And fourth, building more robust research and grant opportunities. These priorities are part of a broader 3-year agenda across 8 work streams. We are not building this for a single announcement, a single bill, or a single Congress. We are building durable infrastructure so this profession never again waits for permission to have a seat at the table. This is the difference between a moment and a movement. The hub is only as strong as the people behind it. It is a dynamic platform. We will continue to grow it, built to represent chiropractic as a whole, not any one group. So I am asking you for 3 things. First, visit the hub and sign up for our newsletter. Second, engage with us. Lend your voice, your expertise, and your patients' stories. When this profession moves together, it becomes impossible to ignore. And third, invest in this work. Now is the time. Belief without action does not change a system. The question is no longer whether this profession deserves a stronger voice. It is whether or not we are ready to use it. Today, thanks to Tony, Lee, and the entire MAHA team, and the work and camaraderie they have poured into this project, we finally have a platform, the partners, and the momentum to secure the voice for patients, families, veterans, and seniors together. I'm giving this my full effort, and I expect wins for this entire profession and for MAHA's broader goals. Next, it is my honor to introduce someone who lives this every single day. Dr. Tony Ebel has helped countless families think differently about health, especially for our children. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Tony Ebel.
This is truly on behalf of the Cairo MAHA Working Group, Vicky, the whole crew, and seeing this Cairo Hub come alive today. Can't thank you all enough for this opportunity to serve. And I got to put this in there right out of the gates. Congratulations to soon-to-be Iowa Governor Zach Lawn. I'm from the Cyclone State, grew up on a farm. I've seen those issues firsthand affect my family's health. And so I just can't wait to see Iowa continue to lead the way. Go Cyclones. So, I think most people think that if you choose chiropractic or the natural health route for your family, you have to completely abandon conventional medicine, that it's one or the other. You're either a Tylenol family or you're a natural, holistic, hippie, living in a van, homesteading down by the river family. Well, we live in a world today where it seems like all these folks are obsessed with choosing sides and focusing on that either or. But I think in a lot of cases, especially this one in healthcare, both and is often the best, especially for our kids. My son Oliver illustrates this perfectly, as he's honestly a medical and chiropractic miracle. Oliver was born with a very traumatic birth. He suffered a hypoxic brain injury, battled persistent pulmonary hypertension, and he started having seizures as an infant. He was placed on ECMO, which is heart-lung bypass, to keep him alive for 5.5 days. And he had more surgeries and more medications than I could even care to count. And I say all this to clearly state this truth. Modern medicine saved our son's life. Their skill, their brilliance, their technology, their interventions, truly indescribably awesome. And I'm forever grateful to this modern medical miracle and the system doing exactly what it was designed to do, save our kid's life. But there's another reality that is also true. His initial trauma and the side effects of all those medications that they wanted to keep him on proactively with medications was quite a grave prognosis. Those same medical experts gave Oliver just a 20% chance to live to the age of 1 and a 99% chance of having lifelong neurological challenges like epilepsy, autism, and cerebral palsy. And they only said 99% because it would have sounded pretty rough to say 100%. And that's where the chiropractic miracle side of Oliver's story kicks in. Chiropractic care doesn't handle emergencies. We don't look to take over for modern medicine. We have an entirely different perspective and place in this healthcare system. Chiropractic care works to repair, restore, and rebuild health naturally, neurologically, and drug-free. I was able to adjust Oliver 2 to 3 times per day while he was in the NICU. And we literally saw his heart, his lungs, his MRI and EEG, his entire brain and nervous system heal over a matter of 6 weeks in ways that the MD struggled to explain. I don't say that as a criticism. It's just hard to make sense of something that was never part of your training. Oliver today is 17 years old. He's an all-conference track and state cross-country runner, thriving in school, and he never had a single seizure or developmental delay. Once those 2 miracles, the medical and chiropractic miracle, were complete. And that's the whole point I want to drive home today. It was never either or for my wife and I. It was always both and for our kiddo. And that's where I see so many families and patients stuck right now. They want a proactive, drug-free, natural approach, first having access to things like chiropractic, but they get so much pushback from their pediatrician and the medical system. These parents are not anti-medicine. They're just exhausted because their kids are sick, and so are they. They don't always want medications first. Very few do. They want to save those for the last resort. They want the chance to first address the root cause and do so naturally and drug-free if the option exists. And they do. They really don't care who's right or wrong. They just care that something works. They just want their child to heal, plain and simple. And what they want is everyone working together for the best of their child. They realize that each kind of doctor and practitioner serves a specific purpose, just a different one. And that's why this chiropractic revolution and the launch of the hub with the support of the MAHA crew is so insanely important. It's chiropractors who truly take the time to listen. We work in partnership with our patients and their entire care team. We don't work as sole dictatorship. We work not just to adjust our patients, but we educate them, empower them, and build a community of like-minded families and other natural practitioners around them. So here's what I believe with everything in me. Every parent, every family, every patient should have a team of doctors working in collaboration, not competing, not siloed, a team working around the whole child and the whole patient. And if we sat down and constructed that perfect team for one struggling child, I'll tell you where we should start. The first door a family walks through should be the neurologically focused pediatric and family chiropractor and PX doc. Why first? It's the safest, lowest side effect profile option out there. And it's proactive, not reactive. We're not waiting for the crisis. We're building the foundation before the storm ever hits. The foundation of health is the nervous system. It runs everything. It's the mom of the body. It knows everything, runs everything, keeps it all coordinated. But when that system is dysregulated, each downstream system, one at a time, gut, immune, endocrine, goes offline, and now there's symptoms from that. So instead of chasing each symptom or working on an individual system, chiropractors work on the foundation that restores and rebuilds where all of that comes together. And then we take that education and empowerment piece so seriously that we help redesign the entire trajectory of the whole family. We shift our patients' lifestyle, and we can help transform a whole community towards a genuinely healthier way of living. And if you take that one child story and think bigger for just a second as we close this session down, if we build that team correctly, proactive care first, crisis medicine when needed, every provider doing their best in the right order, we haven't just helped one family, we built a blueprint, because that exact same model scales. Foundation and nervous system first, collaborative, proactive instead of reactive. You run that model across a whole community, a whole state, a whole nation, and that's what actually changes healthcare. So that's the revolution we're talking about. It's not about tearing down medicine. It's about reordering the system so the right care comes first. I'm living proof it works. Oliver is living, thriving, living his best life proof, and he's here today because a team of doctors, both conventional and chiropractic, each played their part at the right time. Medicine saved his life, chiropractic restored it, rebuilt it, and gave him one. That's not either or, that's both and. That's the future of healthcare, and it starts with every family finding their team, beginning with a nervous system focused chiropractor. Lee, Brandon, Tony, MAHA crew, thank you.
Okay, just to catch up on a last few comments. It's so ridiculous calling Dr. Malone an anti-vaxxer.
I know.
And Amanda says you can get horsehair mattresses in India. And then as far as the chiropractic discussion, Leanne says, I saw great benefits with chiropractic care for my son. The tech unique used was the activator method. The technique used was the activator method. The spring-loaded handheld, I call it a gun. It was very... for his brain injury he endured. It was just one treatment used. Amazing. I am not a fan for the manual thrust technique. So good, but so expensive. Sadly, couldn't keep it up past a few months. In Canada, most plans are only covered a few months. Most plans are not covered at all. Yes, chiropractic
that's very
isn't.
different than here. Because here, I think most plans cover chiropractic, don't they, Liam? Like, what's your experience?
Some do, some don't. It all depends what plan you have.
Yeah.
But I'm a crack addict. How about you? I love a good crack.
Well, I'm a little bit, so where I fully support chiropractic is I agree they are all about a foundational wellness approach and not about turning to surgery or pharma drugs immediately. And I do remember when I was looking to do letters for my girls to get them into schools and I wanted to do some exemptions, there were chiropractors who had these lovely big fat binders of information, template letters, coaching around all of that. And you did not even have to be a patient. They just were about the mission of, if you don't feel comfortable vaccinating your child, we'd love to help you figure out how you can squeak that past your state regs of whatever state you live in. So from that standpoint, adore chiropractic. For me personally, I was going for a very long time and I finally realized I was still going. So for me, I feel like I will go to pinch if I'm in pain. But long haul, I feel like yoga, exercises, looking at Mr. Fix Your Posture guy on Substack, 8 Steps to a Pain-Free Back. All of that structural realignment stuff, I think, has served me better for the long haul. But if I'm in pain, absolutely, bring on the chiropractic.
Bring on the chiro. All right, let's see what Stana Parrish has to say.
A little bit. I was treated very quickly, but within 5 months, I was in heart failure. And within the couple of months prior, I had all the other symptoms. So it failed. I think I need to make the point that oftentimes even treating early doesn't work. Also, if you're not exploring all the other infections that people can get, it's very, very likely the doxy will fail. It's very, very possible the doxy can fail. And that's what happened to me. So all this press and all this national talk about Lyme has really brought this one dose of doxycycline prophylaxis into the public spotlight. There was a big heated debate on Twitter. I woke up to find I was trending along with some physicians who were pro one dose of doxycycline prophylaxis. I am anti one dose prophylaxis because it really fails a lot of people. So I just want to talk about that very briefly. World renowned experts like my doctor, Stephen Phillips, and Dr. Joe Burrascano, who's a very, very famous doctor as well, have been really clear. Single dose doxy does not clear Lyme, and it doesn't clear any of the other tick-borne infections, and they classify it as malpractice. It doesn't kill Lyme. It doesn't penetrate the tissues or the brain. The duration is too short. The original studies only showed that it prevented rash. Once you prevent the rash, you've really muddied the waters for people to get an accurate diagnosis down the road. So it's it's something I really feel passionately about because I don't want people to go through what I went through. Prevention obviously is best. Subtherapeutic doses like one dose can also turn your test negative when you are still positive. So that's another whole issue. And so the CDC knows, and they should know, this is a failing strategy. Please change your guidance. Please update your website with better guidance. A couple of weeks for a tick bite of doxycycline is probably going to get patients much, much better outcomes. This is what the leading physicians in the field tell us. So prevention is everything. Spray your shoes with permethrin, take showers, do tick checks. It is an explosive season. You guys must have heard about all the alpha-gal that's happening. It's terrifying. It's really weird. I agree. It's all those things. But today, I came here with a lot of hope because this administration is listening and they're taking Lyme so seriously. And we're also appreciative. Senate Secretary Kennedy and HHS launched meaningful initiatives, a multi-million-dollar tick control pilot program starting in New England, aiming for 25% reduction in Lyme cases, new LymeX innovation challenges with $2.5 million more, patient-informed awareness, treatment repurposing, alpha-gal syndrome research, and crucially, new public-private partnership with iLads that brings experienced clinician locator tool to the brand new HHS Lyme website, hhs.gov/Lyme. So patients don't have to keep searching for doctors blindly. It's right there. So thank you so much for doing that for us. I just want to shine light on the heroes who never had to wait or never were able to wait for government help because it really didn't come. The Bay Area Lyme Foundation, which I am an advisor on the advisory board, raised and invested tens of millions of private dollars with no taxpayer funding into diagnostics, preventions, biobanks, cutting edge research. They funded studies showing that the current FDA cleared tests mix the majority of early Lyme cases. They supported the next generation of scientists and kept patients' voices central. To this administration, we want to work with you. We would love to align our private innovation with your power to help solve this growing and just ever exploding crisis. Lyme is the perfect example of what MAHA is fighting for: chronic disease driven by environmental causes, decades of institutional dismissal. Just want to thank you guys so much. To everybody in this room, please visit hhs.gov/Lyme, share your stories. We want to hear from you. We support you. Thank you so much.
All right, speaking about our last discussion about chiropractic, Leanne says it's very expensive in Canada. And Amanda was saying her brother's a chiropractor, and maybe the method she was talking about with the gun method is the McTimney method. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
And then
Yeah.
Leanne says, a cracked addict? You might want to explain that a bit, Leanne, when you say that you're a cracked addict.
That's a good one.
Yes,
So,
there's
Amanda,
actually...
you mentioned that I looked up about the horsehair. You can buy horsehair and like itself, not expensive. And then I'm assuming you could either take it to an upholsterer and have them use it, or you could, if you're crafty, a good do-it-yourself project. So I put that in the chat to Liam so we can show that after. And then I did find a furniture site, but I don't know where it is. It's called First Dibs. So I'll look that up and see where it is. But they do, I don't know. They sell it. It's pricey, awfully pricey. Like, well, maybe not that pricey. $2,400 for a 19th century Louis the 16th, is it? Gilt wood settee, handcrafted cream upholstery. So I guess you can do it if you'll dig into your pocket. Or you can go to an auction house and get secondhand furniture. And if it's made prior to, I think, the 1940s, it's likely to have horsehair.
Interesting.
Yeah,
And
I know my
as far as the
grandfather
ticks
sure did.
As
Crazies drop
far as
thousands.
the tick discussion, Elian says crazies drop thousands of ticks on purpose, and go figure there's a jab for Lyme disease.
Well, and that's
what a
what my-
coincidence.
That's what my son-in-law was
And-
saying about, I forget the Lone Star, that there's, all of a sudden it can make you allergic to red meat. And lo and behold, Bill Gates has bought up a whole lot of farmland and is pushing fake meat. So we got Dr. Eric.
Isn't that crazy how that works? All right,
Isn't
let's
it
talk
crazy?
to
Like,
somebody
but
about that.
Liam, aren't we so lucky? Thank God that they're working. It's the coincidence just blows my mind.
It just blows. It's mind blowing.
Nearly 500,000 people a year, 500,000 Americans are told that they have Lyme every single year, but half of them, basically when you get diagnosed, a lot of times the standard tests miss like half the cases. So half the cases are not even diagnosed correctly. They come out negative, and then you go in the clinic and the doctor says that nothing's wrong. So you start going to alternative care and you try to figure this out. And it's really, really devastating for people. So basically for decades, we've been running on this system where, people are given this rigid 2-week program where you get a tick bite, 2 weeks of antibiotics, you're cured, move on. But the bacteria that causes Lyme, Borrelia, does not really care about that. It burrows deep into the body. It's a spirochete. It goes into the joints, goes into the nervous system, goes into the brain tissue, starts developing antibodies like an autoimmune situation, and then builds up this whole biofilm. So it's very intelligent. It has certain survival strategies, and one of the biggest ones, I don't know if a lot of people know this, is that it downregulates your vitamin D receptor by a factor of between 50 and 80 times, because somehow it knows that if you don't have enough vitamin D, then your immune system shuts down. So that's one of the things that if someone doesn't know about that, they're going to be struggling for a lot longer, because if you shut down that receptor for vitamin D, the normal amounts of vitamin D don't work. So you need a lot more. So you're going to need blood levels of probably 80 to 90 nanograms per milliliter, because the typical 30 is just a joke. So that's kind of one survival strategy that it does. But it's really exciting that HHS is now doing some serious research on this, fighting this. They launched a $10 million diagnostic prize to replace tests from the old ones in 1990. A $2 million AI sprint is also going to be helping patients with this invisible illness, which is going to be great. A massive tick elimination program is going on, which they're planning on reducing the ticks by 25% by year 2035. So a lot of good things are happening, including funding this alpha-gal syndrome thing, which is really weird because it's a tick allergy that affects your immune system in like 500,000 Americans who no longer can eat red meat without going into shock. So that's really, really exciting. So in the meantime, as they're figuring this out, I think there's a lot of natural things out there that people can do, and also the doctors that specialize in this, that you need to find someone that really understands this problem, because a lot of doctors don't. But again, I'm emphasizing vitamin D because of what the tick does, and there's other things too. I've talked with some people in the naturopathic field about this, that it gets great results as well using things like cat claw, which has been used for thousands of years. Also, oil oregano does wonders, and also Japanese knotweed apparently has a lot of research behind it too. But I think if patients are given the choice, they can pick what route they want to go. Initially I took the standard route, but then I went alternative, and I did fine. So you really just need to have that choice. And of course, don't forget about garlic as well. But the good thing is that this era that we're told that it's all in your head is officially over.
Right. Thank you.
Yes, that's we should give an applause for that.
Definitely.
Applause.
Definitely. And the other invisible illness is where people are told they're crazy: chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, autoimmune disorders in general, because you look like I look. You don't look ill, but you can look like I look. And although I feel good most of the time now, I looked like this when I felt like complete and utter poop all day, every day. So it's, I'm glad the diseases are finally getting more attention. And it was one of the things that a friend of mine who suffers from chronic fatigue syndrome, also known as ME for something or other encephalitis, maybe it's myalgic, I can't remember. But anyway, is that maybe one of the blessings of long COVID is that there finally is going to be some research into what gets people better. So that's my hope.
Long COVID. Yeah. I heard also that doctors will use Lyme disease as a catch-all because the symptoms vary and it pays really well.
Oh, gosh. Well, and what I don't understand is in the area where I am, Lyme is super prevalent. So one daughter has had it one time that we know of. The other daughter had it twice. And one time she was asymptomatic for her. Her general doctor said, "Are you tired? How do you feel?" And she said, "Of course I'm tired. I'm always tired." And they ran her blood work and she was positive for an active Lyme infection. So I don't understand why a Lyme test isn't a standard part of the annual blood work that's recommended when they check your cholesterol and everything else. And I also don't understand why they only test for Lyme and not also Babesia, Bartonella, whatever the other tick-borne and vector-borne illnesses are, because they all cause those nebulous, symptoms where the person just doesn't feel good in the absence of other, definingly positive blood work. So,
yeah, it makes total
all right.
sense. All right, let's see what Dr. Joel has to say.
Yeah.
To health. So we're talking about the science behind chiropractic care, acupuncture, nutrition, gut health, detox, supplements, homeopathy, naturopathy, meditation, yoga, cold plunges, red light therapy, and so much more, like everything most people on this line do. So this matters because research drives policy. And if we want to expand MAHA-friendly policies, research helps tremendously. It's also what gives patients and providers like myself the evidence that we need to make truly informed decisions. Like without that research, we don't have real informed consent. We just have basically one size fits all pharmaceutical narrative stuff that's pushed as the only option. And we want more options. That's the whole point of MAHA. NCCIH, by the way, is the one federal institution that actually takes natural healthcare seriously. It funds the research to counterbalance the overwhelming flood of big pharma science. So, and now they want to eliminate it entirely? Like, that's weird. And it literally only represents, listen to this, 0.3% of the NIH budget. So NIH is like $54 billion a year. This represents about 170 billion, which sounds like a lot, right? But 99.7% of the budget is paid for pharma stuff, and only 0.3 for everything else like nutrition and supplements, right? So this is happening. It's weird because it's happening under a MAHA-aligned administration, one that was literally elected on the promise to make America healthy again. So eliminating NCCIH clearly does not fulfill that promise. I think it tells millions of Americans who found healing through holistic means that their healing doesn't really count, that it's not worth studying. So clearly we reject that. And we should all expect this administration to reject it as well, right? So here's what this really comes down to. We want our tax dollars invested in whole body health and the full spectrum of health options, not funneled exclusively into drug development. All right, so here's what I'm asking from you today. At Stand for Health Freedom, we've created a super simple call to action that takes just a couple minutes, like literally 60 seconds to 90 seconds. There should be a QR code on the screen right now. Just scan that QR code or go to standforhealthfreedom.com. The link is probably below as well, this video, and send a direct message to your representative and tell them that you want NCCIH funded. By the way, you could actually use the preloaded script or you could type your own message. But ultimately, we want to say, no, we want NCCIH funded. We want informed consent, which requires science on all options, not just the ones that come in a prescription bottle. And tell them you want your tax dollars to fund the things that actually matter to you and that matter to your family. And then, of course, share it with everybody you know. You know, time is of the essence here because the subcommittee meeting is this Friday. So the window is narrow, but I think if the MAHA community comes together and shows up right now, and I know we're going to do that, Washington will hear us. So thank you, the viewers, in advance for making your voice matter. And also thank you, Tony, for kind of being the hub so we can share all of this super important stuff that's going on to the rest of the world and to the rest of the country. We appreciate this.
Leanne says, high doses of vitamin D, K2, yes, oregano oil. Her son's friend has been diagnosed with Lyme. He has a wife and a young girl. So sad, absolutely. And Amanda's
Inflamed
Says
mitochondria.
inflamed
Mitochondrial dysfunction is at the root of a lot of chronic diseases. So a few thoughts on Lyme. One of them is a book by Neil Nathan that Liam I put the Amazon link to it in the chat. It talks about the different herbs that kill Lyme and also mycoplasma and some of the other pathogen type things. It's important to rotate them because apparently they're smart little critters, and so they figure the workaround. And as Dr. Berg, I think, mentioned, it's also important to deal with biofilms. Biofilm is the protective coating that those pathogens wrap around themselves to make it harder for a killing agent, whether it be herbal, like an oil of oregano, whether it be antibiotics, to sort of enter and penetrate. So something as simple as drinking a tea called cistus tea, CISTUS, breaks up those biofilms. And that's really important because otherwise you're taking the antibiotic or the herb, but it may not be able to penetrate the biofilm and actually kill the intended target. And then you need to keep rotating whatever killing agent you're using, which you can do under the guidance of a doctor. And yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, again, Liam, both daughters did it. So I called this lovely doctor who had, talk about a service. We never went to see him. I never paid him a dime, but I had heard from someone else that he had open hours at like 7:30 every morning where you could call in. And I think his name was Jeffrey Mulders. He was up near, somewhere near me, like within an hour of where I live. And his wife had Lyme. So he coached me through a lot of stuff because, like I said, we've had it 3 times between the 2 girls. So, and they are both left with residual joint pain, which is really unfortunate.
Amanda is coming in hot. Ticks, DOD bioweapon, manipulated genetically to make us
I love Amanda.
sick. Also, creatine may help with fatigue for Lyme disease as it plays a role of recycling adenosine ATP and the energy currency, and helps reduce brain fog and also prevent muscle loss and support mitochondria. And need to stay well hydrated and make sure your kidneys are working well. Check with their practitioner, Amanda. It's everything. It's the cell powerhouse. Dr. Ari Witten, is that?
No, it wasn't Ari Witten. It was a local doctor, Amanda. I'm pretty sure his name was Jeffrey Mulders. And I bet he's retired by now because my girls are in their 20s. And this was when everybody was probably under 10 years old. But he was in Jeffersonville, Pennsylvania, not far from me, within, let's call it, an hour and a half of Philadelphia. Great guy. Could not be more appreciative that he did that because Lyme is like a black hole of conflicting information. And that doxycycline, no joke. I took the one kid to the beach and we kept her indoors and we went on the boardwalk and she was fully clothed and we were out there for about a half an hour, sunscreen on her face. She doesn't have my coloring. She has her father's olive Spanish complected coloring. Boy, did she fry. So definitely put your sunscreen on and stay out of the sun if you're taking doxycycline.
Outstanding info. All right.
Yeah.
It looks like they're getting ready to end the show. Shall we see what their closing words are?
To make it easier, to make it more affordable. And, that's a war. That's a battle that we all need to be part of. And with your help, we think we can just achieve incredible things in the next 2.5 years. And we've already had great legislative, regulatory, and election victories, but we can have so many more. And we have to stay active and stay focused and stick together. So following this call, you're going to get an email with a recording of, each of the segments of this show and then, important calls to action. So please share our content as widely as you possibly can. That's our power. That's our strength. And, disagree with people if you want. Disagree with any of us, because that is the power of the MAHA movement, that we're open to ideas, that we can accept disagreement, and that we think that leads to better health outcomes. And then go to the Chiropractic Hub to learn more about the new MAHA Chiropractic Hub. So, we will tell you how to get to that website, and then support continued funding. Like I said, like Joel said, for the National Center for Complementary and Integrative Medicine, Health. And then join our friends at Children's Health Defense for their CHD Advocacy Day on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. next Wednesday, June 10th. So thanks again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you all again next Wednesday at 4 p.m. and have a wonderful evening.
America's children are sick, and
All
moms
right,
have been betrayed.
another-
The time for empty promises long past. Now is a time.
MAHA Simulcast. All right.
Liam, you have a
so-
lot of links in that chat.
A lot of links. Yeah, I see. I do.
I just kind of went to
So
town.
let me see. Yeah, let me see if I can open them up without. Okay. Keep an eye on the.
Companies removing toxic ingredients. I plan to lead by example.
MAHA is now.
We're talking about how to change the culture.
The American people want America healthy again.
It is a renaissance moment in health in America.
For health, freedom, and the truth. Join us at MAHA Action.
All right, meeting has ended. We can maybe bring up the incidental music while I try to load your
Multitudinous links?
contributions to. Yeah, multitudinous links. Let's see if I can.
Flashed across the medical horizon. Dimethyl
Oh, that's
sulfoxide. It is touted as a
So pause 1 second, Liam, if I can just say the reason that I wanted to show this link is this is the difference between what a person could see on mainstream television before mainstream television and the major news media outlets were funded by pharmaceutical companies for more than 50% of their funding. So this is and I also think it's important. Anyway, watch it and then we'll say what we need to say.
Okay, let me get as many in here as we can. We're looking good. All right, so I can just go like this. Gotta keep my eye. In fact, we'll put just for the sake of like we'll put the this is the task manager, so you can see here we're at 95%. So each one that I add, whoa, we're at 99. If we go to 100, it'll break. Oh my God! Oh, we're at 100.
So what does
We're
it
at
mean?
100.
Translate into layperson terms for me. What does that mean?
No, that's just the CPU. So every time I click on one of your
Yep.
links, right, and I'm clicking, see it jumps. 92, 94, 97. Oh no! And then it comes back down.
So does that mean we can't show links, or what does
No,
it mean?
I'm each one, right? I'm opening it, right? And so I gotta wait. And then okay, I can actually get rid of the share screen because that'll free up some resources. And now I'm going to the Amazon one. We're at 95. We're going to go for it. Come on, let's go. All right. 89, 92. Here it comes. Oh, no. We're going to blow the system. So
Is there something that we can do to lower the CPUs so that we don't short things out?
Well, that's the
Would a duck help?
That's why I am the unofficial king of LinkedIn Live, because
So I'm going to say a word about Liam's unofficial
it's
kingness. That is
all
actually
about
false. Liam is the real king. There is nothing unofficial about him, and the title refers to his tech prowess and his prowess in using AI to do things like video editing and helping a garden variety person like me to do a video that promotes their business. So whether your business is, I don't know, selling horsehair furniture or peddling your expertise because you're a consultant or whatever it is, if you have something that you'd like to promote and you want to make a short video, short being maybe 40 minutes, so it's actually not that short, and you want it to look polished and professional, and you want a quick turnaround, and you want somebody who is kind of gentle and kind and will handhold you through the process. If you're nervous, this is your guy. So they call him the unofficial king of LinkedIn because, you know, he's got the crown and everything. So crown's on.
Yeah. Do I get the crown?
And there he is. He's looking very magenta. So, I mean, I can keep talking if you want, Liam. Do you want me to just say some of the things that I wanted to say while you're CPUing?
I'm CPUing.
Where are Amanda and Leanne when we need them? What are we talking about, ladies? Amanda, you know what? I know what I want. Amanda sent me something that is mind blow, or she didn't send it to me. She posted it, and we definitely need to put that up there. It is the one, Amanda, about, use your word, Susan. It is the one about the Rockefeller, the patent that they applied for in 2017 or whatever it was. I'm going to go back and find it because that is mind-blowingly frightening. That, hang on, can't walk and chew gum at the same time, but it's coming. I know it's coming. It wasn't that long ago that she sent it.
So
here we go. Here it is. Here it is. This. So I am going to, poop, where did it go? All right, I am going to bring it up and then I'm going to put it in the chat. And whenever Liam gets the CPU situation straightened out, we can look at it. And in the meantime, I can read it to you. And so
I think we're.
You think we're good?
Okay, we're good here. Let's see what you just put in the chat. Well, let me just get through these comments real quick.
Yeah.
Leanne was like, Liam shrunk. And she's right. I did shrink. I did, in fact, shrink. And Amanda, yes, I'd be happy to help you in your.
I found it, Amanda. I found it. I'm putting it in the chat right now.
If you're anxious, no problem. Okay, you're putting it in the chat. All right. So
are you anxious, Amanda? What's going on?
All right. So what did you want? Which one was it?
I would just go at the top and work your. Well, actually, you know what? Start at the bottom because that one's the most horrifying, and then you can go back to the top. So
okay, there's a Facebook link, and then there's a.
Link. Got it. That is me reposting what Amanda put on Substack, and it's the one about the patent with the Rockefellers. So horrifying.
Okay. Hold on one second. It's right here. Let me share the screen to get this.
Yep.
Where we need it to be, right here.
And this is something that, you know, when you read about it, it sounds like next level science fiction, but it is for real and for true. And Amanda posted the actual link that you can go read the whole patent, which was already granted, that there we go. There it is. So Liam, you want to read it or do you want me to? We don't need to read the whole patent, but I'm going to read what I just put my little, so it's U.S. patent, if you want to look it up, number 10,786,570, B2. So I'm going to do it again, 10,786, 570, B as in boy, 2. That is the number of the patent. Rockefeller University applied for it on July 30th of 2018. The patent was granted September 29th, 2020. Now we'll get scientific-y, and I'm not scientific-y to understand all of this. Ferritin nanoparticles, compositions, and methods to modulate cell activity. So my understanding is that it allows for remote control of the dopaminergic neurons, meaning the neurons that are having to do with dopamine in the midbrain, the reward center, and that the technology is viable in vertebrates. So we're vertebrates, us humans. They've already been able to do it, like apply it successfully in rats, where from a distance, they're able to turn those dopaminergic, can't say the word, neurons either on or off, or I may have my scientific words garbled. It may be that it activates them or deactivates them. But if you're messing with somebody's dopamine system, you're messing with their behavior. And what I get out of this patent and the fact that it was already awarded is that that technology and ability to do that is already granted by the US government and into the hands of the Rockefeller Center. So the people who responded to my post, which was on Facebook, didn't really see a problem. And one person says it appears to describe a method for targeting inducible therapies to specific cells. Could be useful in cancer and other disease treatments. So anyway, sure, it could be. And another person says, I think you're overthinking it simply because it says Rockefeller. You know, maybe I am overthinking it. I would like to think that. But what I really think is that those folks are a little naive. And so, I mean, I see a lot of ways that that could go down a very bad road. And I was incredibly alarmed, but very grateful and appreciative to you, Amanda, for putting that on my radar and everyone else's, because it's this next level science fiction stuff that people just think is not happening. And it's like, no, actually it is. You just have to have an Amanda or a Winifred who digs up the links and sends it to you.
There are many patents like HIV, Ebola, COVID. You just have to look. And Amanda says, "How does she contact me?" Right here, info.
He's the king. You're in good hands, Amanda.
LiamGallegos.com, and we can leave that up for a minute. And then we've got other things that you wanted to get to, Susan?
Yeah,
like,
let's do the DMSO because I think it's super interesting about DMSO, but also, well, let's just watch it. It's all of 6 minutes long. It's worth a watch.
Pain reliever, which would also work miracles on burns, on acne, even on spinal cord injuries, a kind of jack of all trades among drugs. The medical literature was full of stories about it, some of it pro-DMSO, but much of it con, skeptical, even derisive. The Journal of the American Medical Association editorialized against it, and the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, refused to okay it for general use, said it had never been proved effective. Nonetheless, 2 states, Oregon and Florida, have legalized it for prescription, and the black market in DMSO has become nationwide. That's how many Americans get it. Meantime, the puzzling story of DMSO continues. It is largely fueled by the efforts of one man, Dr. Stanley Jacob, an associate professor of surgery at the University of Oregon. For 15 years, this man, some would say this zealot, has been pushing DMSO because he believes so deeply, despite the doubters, in what DMSO can do. Dr. Jacob, isn't a drug that has so many alleged uses, from arthritis to tennis elbow, from burns to spinal cord injuries, from mental retardation to baldness, isn't a drug like that automatically suspect?
No question. And I think that that's one of the reasons it's having problems. And if I had to do all over again, maybe the major mistake that I made, Mike, in the beginning was to tell it the way it was. I think if I would have said it was good for a sprained ankle, but only if the ankle sprain were on the left side, DMSO might be approved today.
Because its use is legal in Oregon, patients make the journey to Dr. Jacob's office there almost as if it were a domestic Lourdes. As we've seen, Dr. Jacob treats some of his patients topically for their bruises, their aches and pains. But some others of his patients, some of the most desperate, are young people left paralyzed from auto and motorcycle accidents. These he gives DMSO intravenously to relieve the pressure on their damaged brains, to reduce the swelling in the brain or spinal cord. And sometimes, apparently, he gets dramatic results.
I took the swelling out of the spine, and they told my husband on the phone that I would probably be in a chair. I'm paralyzed for the rest of my life. And so we're really excited with the results.
Another Oregonian transplanted to Georgia swears by DMSO. June Jones is second-string quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. Time was, he says, he could hardly raise his arm to throw a football. He says he'd be out of the game without DMSO.
My problem is in my shoulder, so the simple thing for me to do is I just put this on like this.
Just that much, about an inch worth.
I put about an inch worth, and I'll rub it all around the area, and I'll just leave it sit. Sometimes I put on a little bit more than that, and I'll just let it sit like that for anywhere from 20 minutes to 30 minutes, 15 to 30 minutes. And
boy, it smells already.
In fact, maybe in about 5 minutes, I'll be able to taste it.
That's one small special characteristic of DMSO. It smells like garlic and tastes like oysters. But if you took a big whack during a game, let's say, and it was black and blue, you'd rub it on.
Oh, yeah. I did this more when I play basketball in the offseason. Sometimes you get kneed in a Charlie horse.
Yeah.
Boy, I tell you, those things are painful for days.
Right.
I put it on right after, and I may not have any pain the next day at all.
Jones says several of his teammates use it too, but they wouldn't talk about it in public because talk of any drug, especially an illegal drug, is verboten in the NFL.
In our business, availability is the most important thing. In other words, if a guy gets hurt, he could lose his job. So when someone comes to me and asks for it, I give it to him. And whether I'm legally okay to do that or not, I really don't care the repercussions because I know I'm going to help somebody.
Perhaps more typical of the legions who depend on DMSO are those who suffer chronic pain. Emily Rudick suffered searing, unrelenting pain from arthritis for years. And she could find no relief, she says, until DMSO. She'd no longer be playing the piano without it, she told us.
So let's talk a little bit about DMSO. I don't want to play too much because 60 minutes will probably give us a big old copyright flag. And
I can give the cliff notes. I mean, one of the things that I think is really interesting is...
Let me go through the comments real quick, and let's and so they get some DMSO comments. So Amanda was saying before our conversation that they can use tech to give you a heart attack, 5G, 6G, etc. You know, and Leanne said yes, she heard about the patenting craziness last week. Pretty scary and insane. And then tech
has been around a long time.
For a long time.
Some of us were unaware.
And then Amanda has DMSO original from the Genesis Church before it was banned. Wow, I didn't know it was banned. And DMSO is something else you can't get in Canada.
I get it online from the DMSO store, but you apparently can also walk into any hardware store because it is a solvent. And so you can get it to oil up your tractor or whatever. I still don't understand why. I know. Why would taking a solvent? It sounds like a bad thing, but apparently the toxicity, they've given it to people internally at something like 100 times over the recommended dose. And the only toxicity that has resulted is the intense stench of the person's body odor. And I think when people have applied it diluted to their eyes, or their ears, like delicate tissues, there can be some burning. But I mean, it's really safe stuff when you compare it to some of the pharmaceuticals that are on the market that kill people, just straight up kill them. Like your mother and my mother.
It's only available with a prescription in, but GPs
won't prescribe it.
Describe it. Everything good and beneficial they don't want available.
Leanne, just meet me at the border. Like drive over the border. I'm serious. I'm serious. Like Canada border is like 8 hours from me. Like we've got summer. I'm up for a road trip. Niagara Falls is beautiful. So let's meet there, and I will bring you DMSO and whatever else you need, and we'll do a little transaction, and no one will be the wiser until I get thrown in prison for
contraband. and so you can just buy this DMSO in And it's good for pain. It's good for.
It is
if
good
you're
for
in
so
pain,
many
it sounds
things,
like.
Liam. So early on, you and Leanne heard me talk about my sister-in-law that was paralyzed. And according to that 60 Minutes clip, there were people who people in wheelchairs who could not take steps. And after about 3 months of intravenous DMSO, some of them, not all, were able to get up and take a few steps. So it makes me ragingly angry that information was not ever made available to my sister-in-law. And I think the only reason that any of us know about it is because of the doctor who writes on Substack under the pseudonym A Midwestern Doctor. And he has written tons and tons and tons about DMSO therapy, as well as about other therapies that have been banned, buried, forgotten, or labeled as bad for whatever reason. And so he does an incredible job of doing just deep, vast amounts of research. And he kind of put it back on the radar of, I think a lot of functional doctors and alternative and integrative folks are now aware of it. So I've used it, joint pain, which I still, depending on how I'm doing autoimmune wise, if things are pretty inflamed and I'm uncomfortable, I'll take it. I try to time it so that I don't take it when I have to be around people who aren't family members, because it does stink and I don't want to stink everybody out. So very careful. I try not to take it. And then if I have to go to work, I'm going to apologize to clients straight up and say, yeah, if you notice a weird stink, it's me, and here's why. So, but it does. I mean, it's super helpful. And there are also people who down it in times of illness. They're fighting just the common cold or a virus or COVID or what have you, and feel that they get better more quickly. It's an anti-inflammatory. It also has the property that whatever it is mixed with, it carries that thing deeper into the tissues. So if you're applying it topically, it's going to carry your, let's say you're using a topical anti-inflammatory, it's going to carry it deeper. And the one big cautionary note with it is thou shalt not combine alcohol with it, because apparently it amplifies the effect of whatever it's paired with. So that there are people that have had maybe one alcoholic drink, but they had slugged some DMSO, and then they're in the hospital with alcohol poisoning. So you need to be careful of that. Yeah, I know.
Leanne says she wishes she could meet you at the border for a DMSO exchange. There's just
We're
so
doing
much
it. We're doing it, Leanne. We're doing it this summer, if I have my way.
All right. And so before we go, let's look at, you have some awesome information about the saltwater pools. Look at that. Saltwater versus chlorine pools. You're just this complete storehouse of cool information.
So I'm friends with somebody that used to be married to a chiropractor, and the kids all played together when they were little. And when we would go to their house, my kids would swim in their backyard pool and they used salt in it. So that's how I first found out about it. But it makes so much sense to me that all that chlorine cannot be good for you. Personally, I don't like the way it makes my hair crunchy and it makes my skin super dry. So I guess salt can do that too. But at least I know I'm not adding any chemical stuff to my body with salt. At least I hope not.
Wow. And how much salt, like where do you, I guess to a pool type of place would
you're going to Lowe's. I mean, I think
is this a common thing?
I think it looked to me like
of
you
course,
could go to Lowe's, you could go to Home Depot, or if people who have swimming pools contract with a company that comes in the beginning of the summer and brings in like this huge truckload of water. So I don't know this because I didn't look it up, but my guess is that there's some company out there that says we'll bring you chlorinated water if you want it, or we'll bring you salt water. You tell us which you prefer. Or I saw something about a salt water generator. So maybe you put some sort of a generator in the pool and it dispenses the salt. So I didn't have time to really look into how it works. I just know that you can do it. And it doesn't look like you have to dig very deep, just Home Depot, Lowe's. I don't know what the options are in Canada or in the UK, but that's for Leanne and Amanda to say.
And as far as a road trip, Leanna says, sure, I love a road summer trip. She just says, I just won't mention the crack addict guy.
See, crack guy lives in Chicago,
so
you can get him. So you're going to have the shortest commute, Liam, if we do this. And then Amanda, you've got the longest. You got to get on a plane and fly across the pond to meet up with us. But we could do it like the 4 cracky people or whatever we're going to be.
And Amanda was talking about coconut oil as I'm going to definitely look into this. That's the first time I've heard about
DMSO.
DMSO and salt water as a replacement for chlorine. And so Amanda is looking for the email address. Sure, Amanda, it is right here. This is my email address, info at my
And
name.
also,
Or you
I'll
can,
mention that DMSO, I've also found it does really well with my laundry. So when I have an oil-based stain, those are the ones that are hard for me to get out. So I'm mixing a little DMSO because it is a solvent in with, I don't know, whatever enzymatic cleaners and regular dish soap and all that stuff, and scrubbing it in with a toothbrush. And it seems to do pretty well. So I feel like it ups the cleaning oomph of whatever other products I'm using on my laundry.
Fascinating. Yeah. I've never heard of this DMSO because
I think most people, Liam, I hadn't until maybe a year or two ago. You have to be in that world of alternative medicine or you're not going to know about it.
And can you give us sort of a idea about like how much it costs?
It's really not that expensive. I'm just going to go on the DMSO store. I want to say maybe $20 for a bottle. And then depending on how much you're taking, let's see, DMSO store. And I only buy it there because it's food grade. So just in case there's any impurities in the ones that you would buy at the hardware store. So this says, so it looks like we're running a Father's Day special, shop the ready to gift bundle. And let's see, so DMSO, so actually $16 for 2 ounces of non-diluted 99.995% in a glass bottle with a dropper. So obviously you want it in a glass bottle because it's a solvent. So you don't want to put it in plastic because we're not trying to eat more or have the plastic get eaten away by the solvent. But I will put it right in the chat if you want to, if it doesn't blow your CPUs, Liam.
Okay. And Leanne wants to know, where do you actually live, Susan?
I live outside of Philadelphia. So we took the girls to Niagara Falls, 10 or 15 years ago. And I want to say it was like 7 or 8 hours to get to Niagara Falls. And I'm open to other spots as well. My husband's family lives in Saskatchewan, and his mom's side, and we have not been up there in forever. So he had actually said we should probably go up and visit Aunt Pat and Uncle Gary, and we can figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely. And Leanne says she bought a home that had a pool over 20 years ago, and it was cleaned with chlorine.
Chlorine cleaning system, yeah. Well, and even the smell, know that breathing in the chlorine fumes is not good for you. And that's one of the reasons that when you're in the shower, even if you don't filter the rest of your water, which of course you should, but a shower head filter is good so that it's not even just whatever's touching your skin. It's that steam and the mist that's coming from the hot water is going to have bits of chlorine and other stuff in it, or maybe not chlorine, but whatever the stuff is, and it's not good for you. And I can smell it. I can tell when our filter needs to be changed, and I'll say to my husband, like, I'm starting to get that chlorine smell in the shower. I think it's time we have a whole house water filter, so.
I always associated that it always was an affectionate smell for me because it always reminded me of being a kid on vacation and you smell that chlorine and school was out and you were going to have some fun. All right, so Amanda says hydrogen peroxide
in a nebulizer for yep. And you want to use that with saline so that you don't hurt your lungs. And there are protocols online, and that was big during COVID, but any respiratory infection. So, but look at it, and you can also add a drop or two of iodine, and that apparently, as you breathe in the mist, will also help whatever's going on in your lungs.
And Lynn says we had customers coming in for the health store asking for DMSO, but it was very hard to get. But we did get it from the U.S. suppliers when we were able to get it. And then Amanda says DMSO on the eyelids for floaters.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah. And let me tell you, there is a fellow on Substack that I follow. He's about fixing your eyesight, and he improved his vision from over a course of 2 years of doing a variety of things. Some of it dietary, some of it supplement, some of it eye exercises, and some of it DMSO. But you have to dilute it. You're not putting it full strength on your eyes. And his prescription went from a -3 point whatever it was to a -2 point whatever it was. And he cleared his astigmatism. So there's definitely some good stuff to be had with it. Because again, it's anti-inflammatory. So
yeah, it sounds incredible. And so it looks like this road trip is being planned here. She's in the western part of Canada. You're in the eastern part of the United States.
Can you come to Saskatchewan? How long would it be for you to get to the middle part of Canada?
Amanda, Leanne rather was saying Merlin's 3% is great for help to use to cure cancer.
And glutathione. And if you go to the type of doctors that do IVs of nutrients and also little boutique-y wellness places that do IVs, sometimes they offer IVs that have a little bit of hydrogen peroxide in them because I forget what it is. I know it's controversial. I know there's my functional doctor said she was not on board with it, and I don't know. But I know that your body produces hydrogen peroxide. So I don't know. Like everything else, there's conflict, but a lot of people have used it in specific ways, following protocols and safely, including me. I used it during COVID and any respiratory infection in the nebulizer. And I do think it helps get me there faster.
And Amanda was talking about sun gazing. Yeah, I heard sun gazing was a really incredibly awesome thing to help the uncalcification of the pineal gland.
And you want to do it first thing in the morning so that the sun is not too strong. And I'm going to guess you shouldn't gaze for too long. But that is also the fellow on Substack who got his eyes in such better working shape. That was one of the things that was part of his protocol as well, was safe sun exposure. And you can also do it via a red light machine so that if it's winter and you don't feel like going outside or you live in a part of the world where you have 6 hours of sun, if you're in Denmark or whatever, you can sit warmly and comfortably inside in front of a red light machine or device.
Yeah, Amanda says it oxygenates the cells, and it looks like we're going for we're planning a road trip. Hello,
4 hours.
4-hour drive from Saskatchewan.
Okay, so I will go downstairs and I will talk to my husband and I will ask him if he was for real about going to see Pat and Gary. No, I'm serious, because why not? We haven't seen them in forever.
And then packing. And then packing the empty cavities of the car with.
Aunt Pat and Uncle Gary,
What's
oh
that?
my God, Aunt Pat and Uncle Gary have a lake house, and the lake house has a hot tub. And all I remember is Aunt Pat brought out the slushies, and the slushies were some drink made of ginger ale and sherbet and booze. And the combination of the booze and the hot tub, I don't know how any of us were standing, but they were awfully delicious.
Wow.
Yep.
Can I come? Or is this just ladies' night out?
No, I think you should come. I think we need the king. We need the goddess of menopause. We need Merlin.
All right, we've been on for almost 2 hours. Come on.
Woo! Prove your royalty. Prove your royalness. All right. All right. Here we go.
All right.
All right. Here we are.
Well, thanks everybody for watching.
Thank you.
It was a blast, and we will see you next Wednesday, if not
Liam,
sooner.
at some point,
right?
are you going to be
never know
talking
what we're gonna be
energy
doing.
and saving on energy bills?
Yeah, at some point.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, I'm doing a whole series. You can catch me, but if you want to join in on the discussion, we can actually do one energy talk together. It's because
I didn't realize I'm not.
Yeah, Chicago brought us the soundtrack of the world, right? House music, blues, jazz, and brought us Michael Jordan and Barack Obama, just like the whole world was just completely mesmerized by these products that came from Chicago. And now, just like Chicago gave the world, the planet, its soundtrack, we're going to give the world, the grid, its energy back.
Ooh.
That's what we're doing, people.
Well, y'all
That's
can tell us
what
more,
we're
Leanne.
doing. Two-way street now. All right,
And
Amanda. All right,
All right.
Leanne. Thank you so much.
All right, to Leanne for the next one, and then to the summer when you meet me at Matt's Hot Tub.
All right.
All right.
Take care, everyone. We will see you later. Bye-bye.